Picture an abandoned late 60s Oldsmobile sitting out in the Bronx. Nice car with no damage. Another one parked out in Palo Alto. Same car, same condition. Back in 1969, psychologist Philip Zimbardo helped run this experiment. And what happened next ended up changing how people understood environmental behavior completely. The one in the Bronx gets ripped apart almost instantly. Windows busted, the parts stolen, gone. People climbing on top of it in broad daylight like it already belongs to the environment. The other one, nothing, just sitting there untouched. For a while, too. And people hear the story and instantly want to go, see, different people. It's easy to see the different morals, different neighborhoods, the different values, all nicely bundled up and clean, which makes everybody comfortable. Then researchers damage the untouched car themselves. That's the part that stayed in my head. It wasn't major damage either. Just a small signal. One crack. That was enough. People started tearing into the car too. And the second I read that story, I stopped thinking about vandalism completely. I started thinking about apartment buildings. Some properties feel off before anybody even speaks to you. You walk into you walk into the lease office and can already feel the emotional exhaustion sitting in the room. The maintenance guy has this look on his face like he's been putting out the same 5 fires for the last 3 straight years. Residents are talking to each other like coworkers trapped at a bad job. Everybody knows something's wrong, but nobody's saying anything directly anymore. That's when environments get dangerous. Not the loud dangerous either. The worst kind. Quiet dangerous. The kind where people slowly stop expecting things and do what they want to do. You want to know when the building really starts drifting? When residents start learning the property from other residents instead of management. That's the crack in the windshield of the Oldsmobile. Now applicants are hearing, you don't bother emailing after Friday. Good luck getting your deposit back. Don't use the side interest at night. The maintenance guy's cool, but management's gonna stress you out. And management usually has no clue these conversations are happening every single day in the stairwells, parking lots, outside laundry rooms, while people are smoking by the dumpster. That's where the real culture of the property starts getting built, not in the office. And wait, this whole thing gets deeper when you start looking at housing projects. Places like Cabrini Greens and Robert Taylor Homes. People talked about those places today. People talk about those places today like they were born dangerous. They weren't. Those places open with politicians smiling for cameras. Big speeches, big promises, modern housing, fresh start, structured community. Then years pass. Maintenance slows down. Leadership disappears. Repairs stop mattering. Authority gets inconsistent. Gangs start replacing structure. Residents adapt to survival instead of stability, and eventually their environment starts reproducing behavior faster than leadership can control it. That's the part people keep missing. It wasn't just bad people. That's the lazy explanation. Human beings adapt to environments constantly whether leadership understands it or not. That's true in corporations, neighborhoods, friend groups, families, apartment buildings, everywhere. And honestly, when you really think about it, the government basically looked at all those places in chaos and said, yeah, y'all got it. Now landlords are all over the country running properties through 5 different management companies trying somehow to hold environments together while every office has a different culture, a different urgency, a different emotional stability, a different standard. Well, thought they could, Management alone doesn't stabilize environments. That's the lie. You can answer maintenance calls and still lose control of the atmosphere completely. You can feel units and still have the building emotionally collapsing underneath you. You can collect rents while residents slowly stop believing structure means anything there. That's the drift landlords keep missing. And you see the adoption everywhere once you start paying attention. Residents already knowing who folds under pressure in the office. People timing complaints around which employee still seems emotionally functional that week. Tenants walking straight past management to ask maintenance questions because they trust them more. Cosigners sitting at home stressed out opening notices wondering how trying to help family turned into a damn psychological burden every month. Even the good tenants start changing after enough time. And you say, wait, the good ones too? Yep. People who started responsible slowly adapting downward because the environment itself got heavy. That should scare landlords more than bad tenants, honestly. And this is where most landlords accidentally train instability themselves. The rent is due Friday. Friday comes and goes. Saturday morning finally hits, and here comes the paragraphs. I can send half. My paycheck got delayed. Cash app tripping. My bank card got locked. The whole interaction turns emotional. Everybody improvising, nobody operating. A different outcome every month depending on stress level, personality, guilt, pressure, and fear. Residents study that on the low. That's how buildings become emotionally loose over time. Nobody fully trusts the structure anymore because the structure keeps changing shape under pressure. That's why I keep saying the environment always teaches louder than the lease. Forever. A resident can read the real standards of a property inside of 30 days, sometimes faster. They see what gets ignored, who follows through, who folds, what drags, what gets buried, what actually matters once pressure enters the room. That becomes the real that becomes the real operating system of the property, not whatever framed mission statement hanging in the office. And that Oldsmobile sitting untouched in Palo Alto, it still felt connected to order, like somebody would notice if things started slipping there. That feeling matters more than landlords realize. The second environment stopped feeling maintained psychologically. Human behavior shifts behind it in light speed. That's true everywhere. And eventually landlords have gotta do the same thing they did with those projects. The environment itself has gotta come down. The drift, the emotional freelancing, the unofficial rules residents built around instability. That whole culture where structure bends every time pressure enters the room. That's the part getting demolished. The same way corporations eventually realized they needed operational systems to stabilize human behavior, landlords need them too. System constitution, operational training system, degradation detection system, communication shift system, responsibility deflection system, boundary testing systems, pattern acceleration reporting, incident systems, incentive systems, template libraries, everything structured, everything answered. Nothing left floating around emotionally, hoping the lease magically handles it. Leadership starts catching the drift early instead of discovering it after the environment already shifted. Communication changes, gets noticed. Small rule pushes get noticed. Selective compliance gets noticed. In pressure tactics, they get noticed too. Patterns stop hiding inside of isolated situations because the system stops connecting everything together operationally. That changes the atmosphere of the whole property. And after enough of that, the environment starts tightening back up naturally. Residents stop adapting to instability because instability stops dominating the property psychologically. Now the structure is louder than the chaos again. That's the game. Not controlling people, rebuilding the environment people adapt to in the first place. And the crazy part, most landlords are still trying to solve all this with a lease and a background check.